Welcome back to our program. I'm your host, Ray Guo. We will continue our conversation with Dr. Doris Brougham, who's been a teacher of English in Taiwan for over 60 years. Doris, let's talk about the three major English programs that you have today in Taiwan. That is, of course, Let's Talk in English, a studio classroom, and also advanced. Can you tell us a little bit about each of them?
Well, when we started the program in 1962 for a studio classroom, as I said, we called it a classroom because students could come in and ask questions about what they didn't understand, not what I wanted to teach them, what they didn't know. And then studio classroom was a certain level, which was more or less medium, intermediate level. And people said, well, could you have an easier level because that's too hard? So we made junior studio classroom. Could you make one even for younger people? So we started basic studio classroom. So pretty soon we had 3 levels. And we put them in one magazine because the economy wasn't so good. People didn't have much money. And so they could buy one magazine, 3 sections. But then some people said, I don't need this level. I don't need this level. So we decided to divide them up into 3 levels. So the studio classroom was should be Let's Talk, and then studio classroom, and advanced. But they're all part of studio classroom. And then I mentioned Cyber Village because they said we need one more magazine. I said, well, 3 magazines, that's enough. There's too many magazines. Cut down too many trees to make. So we will make the next one on the web. So you could say that Cyber Village is the 4th. I understand that your organization is truly international, that you have branch offices not only within Taiwan, but also in many parts of the world, the United States, Singapore, and other parts of the world as well. And how do you then coordinate your teaching materials to students in different parts of the world? Well, we have in our offices, we have different, like for instance, in China, they use the other kind of Chinese characters, different ones. We have an office in Beijing, and sometimes I give lectures over in Beijing and Shanghai and different places, and I'm on their boards. So I try to help because, you know, over there they're learning English, and they're learning English in all over the world. There's Chinese people. We had studio classroom in Mozambique, and we had it in Portuguese. We make it internationalized. The translation was in Portuguese. And they're using studio classroom on a big radio station in Albania because they think the people there need to learn English. So they put the translation in Albanian and in different areas. And then we have helped people start radio and TV stations. I was up in Kazakhstan, in Almaty, up there. And they said, we wish we could have TV, but we don't know how. So I sent some people from Taiwan up there to help them start a TV station. And now they have studio classroom on there, all over Russia.
Well, that's
from Kazakhstan.
Truly remarkable.
So it's all over the world.
And also, Doris, you not only teach the English language, but you're also branching out into areas like business, you know, like marketing and, you know, technology, of course. And how do you then customize, you know, those lessons, you know, to the needs of students around the world?
Well, some of them we do, of course, through what we call pocketbooks and e-magazines and so forth. And we have something we call English in 10 minutes a day and English for offices and, you know, specialized things that people need and packages that they can use that we design for different companies to use, too.
And Doris, you and I were talking before this segment started that you learned to scuba dive at the age of 56. This is remarkable in the sense not only because of your seniority in age at the time, but the fact that you had that, you know, spirit, that, you know, commitment to learn new things, to, you know, get in touch, you know, with, you know, what's happening around the world, you know, around you, and also you're not afraid to learn new things. You're not afraid to tell people, say that, hey, I don't know how to do this, would you help me? But you know, after you learn the techniques or, you know, a new technology or a new concept, that you turn around, become a teacher. And then you teach other people that who may be interested but don't know about the techniques, about the developments yet. Then how do you, you know, keep going after all these years?
Well, I think you have to start when you're younger. I grew up in a big family, 8 children.
And you are the baby?
I'm number 6. There was 8, so I'm kind of way down the line. But, you know, we did a lot of things. We played different games. We didn't have a lot of money, so we had to imagine and make up a lot of things. But I think also the fact is that when you have a lot of interests, like I love music, and so I can practice my music. I like reading. I used to read 4 books a week in grade school, and you know, things like that. You keep up your interests.
Of course.
If you only are interested in sports, and that's all you do is play sports, later on you can't play sports.
No.
What are you going to do? You need to know how to play other games.
Yes.
You need to learn other interests. You can learn music. You can learn many things.
Yes.
And if you have more interests, then you will keep being interested in things around you.
Yes.
And you will learn new things.
Yes.
Then you can pass it on. Now, a lot of my teachers now are scuba divers because I told them how nice it is when you go over there to look at the turtles in the water, and they look up at you, and they you know, one turtle jumped way up in the air right in front of me and dived and clapped. You know, that's fun.
Yes.
Get them interested.
Yes. And also the fact is that all these different things that you teach people, not just English, that, you know, do you sense, you know, a kind of reciprocal, you know, feedback from the students? Maybe they learn this from you, and then they turn around and say that, Doris, thank you for letting me know about this. Then, you know, next time if somebody else interested in this, I will turn around and tell them what to do.
Right.
Do you often get that?
Yes, we do that. We need to pass it on, you know. And sometimes when I'll go out, like I was just in an elevator over at the big mall, and one man said, oh, you know, I want to thank you for Studio Classroom. It made me very wealthy. I said, well, pass it on. Give some of your money to the people that need it.
Exactly.
When you get something from something, pass it on to somebody else.
Okay. And Doris, you've probably been asked about this question a million times, that you've been in Taiwan over 60 years. There must be a number of things or a number of reasons that made you stay for all those years in Taiwan. What were the things that you liked the most, that you loved the most about the island, the people, the place?
Well, I think when we feel that we can contribute to something, like what if I were just living here and I couldn't do anything and I was just having a house and eating and stuff, I probably wouldn't just stay here.
No.
But if I can still be of some use, because people say, oh, we still need you to help us, and I feel I can be useful, and I already know something about the people and the background and the culture. Now, new teachers might have a lot of new things to offer, but they don't understand the Chinese way of thinking. No. So I can help the new foreign teachers to understand Chinese things. So I can be kind of a bridge in between to help them get into the culture.
Yes.
So there's still a place for people who can do this. So if I'm useful and I can help, then
modest.
I should stay here.
Yes.
I don't want to just stay here because I like to live here, because I think we need to contribute something. And if I can contribute, I'll still stay here.
Yes, well, we'll welcome you here. And also the fact that, exactly as you mentioned, that you played that key role as a bridge, you know, between what has been developed in Taiwan over the last 50, 60 years, but also what will come up in Taiwan next, you know, as Taiwan become more internationalized. Right. And you played that, you know, key role of, you know, transition, you know, making the newer arrival, you know, whether from the United States or Europe or other parts of the world, being able to assimilate into the local culture, the local ways of doing things, you know, more easily. But also at the same time, you're helping the locals to become more accustomed to what's happening around the globe. You know, understanding that we're not alone in Taiwan, we're not isolated, we can still be a part of, you know, this global village and be a very constructive member here in Taiwan. And what would be the, you know, some of the advice that you could give to people who may be watching our program and thinking of one day, you know, maybe, hey, I will come to Taiwan and live and get to know the people better. What would be your word of advice coming from, you know, 60 years of experience here?
Well, I try to help the young people because we still teach children and young people and college students. I go to universities and different ones. Is the fact is that what we are is more important than what we do, actually. And as local Taiwanese people, we want to be an example to other people. And we don't need to worry about whether the rest of the world is bigger or not. It's quality that counts. Small things come in little packages. We can be like a little shining diamond to the rest of the world. So if Taiwan can learn to not only learn how to do things, but give love and love each other and work together, then I think that we can really help the whole world. And I think it's very important for young people to realize that it's not a matter of blaming everybody else and saying you should do this. Let's just work together and cooperate and love each other, and we have a great place.
And oftentimes in my program that we have, visitors, guests that came from different countries. They often talk about the food in Taiwan. Has that also been another attraction that made you stay here 60 plus years?
Well, actually, you can get good Chinese food even in Seattle now.
Yes, of course.
All over the world.
Back home, yes.
So, and also, I think that food is something that it's good also to have sort of a combination.
Yes.
Like, for instance, Chinese people often like noodles, and they like Italian noodles. And
of course.
So, I mean, I think food itself, you can have good food wherever you are. And I like to cook, and sometimes I'll make American spaghetti for my staff, too.
Yes.
So it's nice to have different types of food. And I think the food is good here, but you can get good food any place in the world, especially if you can cook.
Okay. And Doris, I want to make sure I get a call from you next time you cook spaghetti for your people.
Well, that's it. You're invited.
Okay. We're going to take another short break on our program. We'll be right back and continue our conversation with Dr. Doris Brougham. I'll see you in a few minutes.